Today we are going to explore the major structures comprising the most complex organ in the human body, the brain. Let's begin by dividing the human brain into three major parts: the forebrain, the midbrain, and the hindbrain. Each division is composed of smaller structures, each playing an important role in regulating our bodily functions. The hindbrain, or the rhombencephalon, consists of three major structures: the medulla, the pons, and the cerebellum. At the lowest part of the brainstem, we have the medulla. This structure plays a large role in controlling some of our most important bodily functions, like breathing, our heart rate, and even sneezing. Just above the medulla, we have the pons. This structure helps transmit sensory information and impulses that allow us to make facial expressions. With some help from the medulla, the pons also plays a large role in controlling our sleep cycles. The pons connects the medulla to the cerebellum, the part of the brain responsible for coordinating our movements. As you might imagine, the cerebellum plays a role in motor learning and processing procedural memories, like riding a bike. Moving past the pons and up to the top of the brainstem, we have the midbrain, a smaller, but no less important division of the brain. Like the hindbrain, the midbrain can be divided into three sections: the tectum, the tegmentum, and the cerebral peduncles. The tectum plays a vital role in processing both visual and auditory signals. The tectum is largely responsible for our auditory and visual reflexes. The tegmentum is a more complex section of the midbrain that plays a role in several bodily processes such as coordination, consciousness, and reward-based learning patterns. The cerebral peduncles houses a substantial amount of dopamine production, a neurotransmitter closely associated with feelings of pleasure and motivation. This region also includes the periaquectal gray, which plays a role in the development of behaviors stemming from fear or anxiety and processing pain signals. Finally, let's move on to the largest and most developed section of the human brain, the forebrain. The structures we will focus on in this section of the brain are the cerebral cortex and the components of the limbic system. The limbic system is responsible for dealing with emotion, memories, learning, and arousal. The main structures forming this system are the hypothalamus, amygdala, hippocampus, and thalamus. The thalamus relays visual, auditory, gustatory, and somatic sensory information to the cerebral cortex. Everything except olfactory information. The hypothalamus directs the glands of the endocrine system, primarily through the pituitary gland. By regulating the hormones released by these glands throughout the body, this structure regulates metabolism, energy levels, development, and even some emotional responses. The hippocampus plays a crucial role in the formation and storage of long-term memory. Damage to the hippocampus is associated with severe memory loss and difficulty forming new memories, a condition called amnesia. The amygdala is involved in regulating emotions resulting from fear and anger and providing emotional context in memories. We can now turn our attention to the cerebral cortex. The cerebral cortex surrounds the majority of the structures we have discussed so far, with the only exception being the cerebellum and the lower part of the brain stem. This structure is where high-level cognitive processes take place, including processing sensory information relayed by the thalamus, decision-making, thought, and personality. The cerebral cortex covers the left and right hemispheres of the brain. The gap in the middle of the hemispheres is bridged by the corpus callosum, which allows the two hemispheres to communicate with each other.